All right, so now we move into leverage, part number 2. This is my favorite part of the process because it's where we actually are able to work less and earn more. And that's really what we all want to do at the end of the day. So first off, I want to start by saying that most people are trading time for money. And so this actually is a limited input, right? So most of us might be working 8-hour days if you're in like a typical office job. And that's a limited output because you only get paid per hour, or even if you get paid a salary, it's still a limited salary that you have, and you have to show up for these hours to earn that, right? And so that makes it a limited input, limited output. So instead of doing this, where you're trading time for money and it leads you to a place where you're kind of in debt, broke, you're struggling with finances because there's only so much money you can make and only so much time you can put in, right? We don't want to work more, we want to work less, and we want to earn more. So how do we do that? Well, not by trading time for money, but by using leverage to generate money. And so leverage is the secret to being able to make more and work less. And so what that looks like is coming down to knowing your workload, right? So if you have a remote job, it comes down to understanding what tasks you do on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis. And so you can see this is one of the jobs that I had. And so essentially I list out like, what is my role? What do I do? What's some of the monthly tasks I do? How long does it take? And who is this done by? And you can kind of get clearer on this as you go along. So a lot of these tasks down here you can see are done by a virtual assistant. And then there's like a tool that does this task. And so I'll get more into depth on how we break that down. But essentially, if you just get clear on your workload by listing out the tasks you do monthly, weekly, and daily, that'll give you a lot of clarity around what needs to be actually broken down. So I usually put it into these categories. So imagine this is your like 8-hour workday, right? You've got a bit of important work that you need to do. You've got some standard work, which is just like random stuff. And then you've got random work that kind of pops up here and there that's like unpredictable. And then you've got your unnecessary work, which is stuff that you're doing in your day that doesn't need to be done, right? And many people, if you were to actually break this down, will have a lot of unnecessary work. And so right off the bat, you can just eliminate this, right? Because it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't contribute to your role, and it's just wasted hours. Then I like to do something called the work simplification matrix. And so this is where we decrease the volume of tasks, decrease the complexity of the tasks, and increase the efficiency of the tasks. And so by doing all 3 of these things, we can actually simplify our workload. And so what that might look like, let's say you're doing 5 tasks. Instead of doing 5, you would do 4, right? Or for complexity, let's say something takes you 10 steps to complete. How can we complete it in 5 steps, right? And for efficiency, it's like something might take us 20 minutes. How can we get it done in 10 minutes, right? So by going through this matrix here, you can actually simplify a lot of your workload, and that will allow you to free up a lot of your time just naturally through simplification. And then we can get into the juicy stuff, which is using automation tools. I've got 3 listed up here that I love, which is high level, mostly like a marketing tool if you're in marketing space. Zapier is amazing for integrations. So you can get different softwares and platforms to integrate with each other. So let's say you send an email and you want it populated into a Google Sheet, you can set that up with Zapier, right? That's a really good tool to explore. And then we've obviously got the king of the AI, ChatGPT. Everyone loves this one. It's a great tool to utilize in your work as well. You can ask it questions, get certain things made up. It's really, really easy to use as well. And so those are some tools you can use to automate your workload. And then the last piece, my favorite piece of the puzzle, is virtual assistants. And so we can use these virtual assistants, and I pay them anywhere from $4 to $8 per hour. This is Australian dollars. And then they can basically do the remainder of those tasks for you. I like to hire my virtual assistants from one of these 3 sites or from these Facebook groups. I've actually found my best virtual assistants from these Facebook groups. So if you search these up, I always hire from the Philippines. I just find they're just incredible people, hardworking, they speak really good English, really easy to hire. And I love giving that opportunity to the families over there because working from home to them means a lot. And so yeah, those are some of the sites I use. You can check them out. This one's probably the best one, I would say. Upwork's hit or miss. Virtual Staff is pretty good, but this one is the best one, onlinejobs.ph, and then the Facebook groups as well. And then that should leave your workload looking something like this, where you've got most of your work leveraged and you only have to sit down and do this much work, which could be like 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour in some cases, depends how much of it you can leverage, right? And so that's why you want to find a remote job that can be as leverageable as possible, if that's even a word. And then that can lead you to a place where you can actually take on multiple jobs, which is something that's super lucrative because now you can make multiple income streams while working less, right? You can see, let's say this was like 3 hours, this was 2 hours, and this was 3 hours as well. Now you'd be working 7 hours per day, but making 3 full-time incomes, right? And that's the power of being able to utilize leverage in your workload. This is also great to utilize if you're running a business as well. Leverage is obviously the superpower to get more done without you putting your time into it. And so yeah, that's what's called overemployment. And this is something that I actually was doing last year to travel Asia full time, working less than 4 hours per day and earning over 200 grand per year, just having 3 or 4 remote jobs at the same time, right? And so that's some pictures from our travels overseas. You can see Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, some beautiful places, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Disneyland here. That was fun. But yeah, it's like that's the freedom you have when you leverage your life and you're working remotely, right? That's kind of like the freedom that this kind of work gives you and the opportunities you can have to travel and live life on your terms, where you're working less, earning more, and you have the finances free, the time free, and the location free freedom to be able to do this. Like travel if you want, you can spend more time with your kids, your family, like whatever you want to do with your life, you have more free time and income to be able to do that.